Okay, my bad. I had to lock the door, bruh, because I live in a house that doesn't respect privacy. People walking on me naked, and the excuse will be, I changed your diapers when you was born. Like, you see, that's the type of stuff don't make a guy want to run away. I'm being honest. You hear that theme song? I'm back with another reacts. Consistency too, yes, man. I'm back with another reacts. And yeah, man, it's been a while. It's been a while, man. Obviously, I can't do the extra shit of jumping around and doing, the crazy stuff we do when I'm by myself. As you can see, I'm at home right now. And yeah, rules are strict here. So yeah, let's just get to the reacts, man. I'm scared I'm gonna be too loud here because they might just walk in on me with not my permission. They don't knock. So let's just get to it. Wait, before I start this video, who are you backing? Danny Phantom or Jake the American Dragon? Like, that's a fight I wanna see. I don't know about you, but that's a fight I wanna see. Because I saw a dumb comparison about Danny Phantom and Ghost Rider. I think people say he's a ghost because there's ghost in the name. To me personally, Ghost Rider is more of a demon than a ghost. That's personally, like, he sold his soul and shit. Like, me personally, I think that's the case. But man, let's just get to this video. Let's just get to this video, bro. The weird world of Danny Phantom.
Have you ever had the urge to escape your itchy corporeal form of a meat suit and know what it's like to exist untethered by the heavy weight of gravity? Well, if you're Danny Phantom, you actually can. Brought to you by Fairly Odd Parents creator and body language game show participant Butch Hartman. The origin of the series dates back to a dusty highway between Las Vegas and Los Angeles. The year was 2001, and Butch was helping his mother move from Las Vegas to sunny Los Angeles, where he and his family reside, and after running out of things to talk about,
I actually know this guy. Well, not personally, but like I've seen him before. I say I know him.
A few hours into the trip, he decided to use the time he was given to brainstorm any possible new show ideas. Around the time, boys' action shows were all the rage, and everyone was talking about them. It was a network must-have. Starting with a name, Hartman wanted to make something cool and catchy like Johnny Quest, and how his last name was a super epic action word. Hartman eventually landed on the word Phantom, and after some first name brainstorming and rejections, like Jackie Phantom, inspired by Jackie Chan, which I actually think sounds really sick for the record, he decided to stick with Danny Phantom. In evolving the plot, he initially was thinking about evoking themes of Ghostbusters, while toying with the idea of Danny hunting ghosts, like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Scooby-Doo version of Ghostbusters. The title Danny Phantom and the Spectre Detectors was thrown around, and eventually thrown out because, as Hartman realized, it wasn't unique enough. Instead of making Danny just fight the ghosts, why not make him the ghost? Thus was born the idea.
Okay, me, I'm a Cartoon Network demon. Cartoon Network defeats all of the shows. Like defeats all of the shows. It defeats Disney, Nickelodeon, Nicktoons, Disney Junior. Cartoon Network will forever be my goat. Well, back then, I don't know now. It's been like, I think 2 years since I've watched TV. I'm a YouTube demon. So I'm gonna think, I don't know, back then, obviously when Cartoon Network was in the golden ages, do you think Danny Phantom would make the lineup? Now that's a question though, because I'm putting in Cartoon Network's all-time lineup. I'm putting in Cartoon Network's all-time lineup. So in the day, because let's not lie, because we had also, who's this? Lucha Mucha. Like, you guys wouldn't know that. You guys are probably some youngins. But like, I feel like Danny Phantom is not making our lineup. I feel like Danny Phantom would be in Nickelodeon. You know what I mean? Like, it had to be, because he's not fitting in any other place. Yeah. But Disney Channel does have like the best human shows. Like, when I say human, unanimated shows that play there. Like, the only thing I know from Nickelodeon is Game Shakers and Haunted Hathaways, personally. And the Robot Girl, which was also fire. Thundermans too. Hey, let me just get to the video.
for Danny Phantom. To say that the show didn't leave a major impact with many would be the opposite of the truth, otherwise known as a lie. In fact, in many ways, the legacy of Danny Phantom may even eclipse other works of Butch, with this show being the most well-written, most engaging, and most mature in terms of tone project he has done yet. So let's take a ghoulishly deeper look into the world of Danny Phantom.
Ha! Ghost Kid! I was right!
So Hartman had this show idea developed and pitchable just kinda hanging around in his back pocket, and as luck would have it, he was able to pitch it a few months later. We're now in October of 2001, and Hartman attends an intimate celebratory dinner with Nickelodeon executives in which they inform him of an additional 20 more hours of his hit series Fairly Odd Parents, following its incredible success. In addition, they asked him if he had any more ideas that they could snatch up. He was able to pitch 2, and both were bought, but the first idea he shared was his Danny Phantom concept.
I won't lie. This pandemic of like, I want a goth baddie. I feel like Sam, that's the girl's name, Sam. She's the one who started that movement. I feel like without Sam, goth baddies wouldn't be here. Say I'm lying. Say I'm lying. I dare you say I'm lying. Without Sam, Sam was the first goth baddie. Personally, like Sam was the first goth baddie. Personally, I don't indulge. Because I'm scared on our first date you thinking about, you know, ending it personally. But like, Sam is the... Yeah, Sam is the first goth baddie, bro. Like, she is the first goth baddie.
Concept. They answered him by asking if he could have a pilot episode ready by March. So while also working on Fairly Odd Parents, he began the process of finding a crew for the new series he would be heading. Then, the first episode of Danny Phantom premiered on April 3rd, 2004. Danny Fenton is a freshman at Casper High by day, vigilante ghost fighter by night, and as established in the intro song, he's gonna catch 'em all, even though he's a ghost too. His parents are inventors who obsessively center their lives around fighting ghosts. In an experiment to open a portal to a dimension where they initially think they fail, Danny ventures in the inactive portal and hits a button, turning the portal on with him inside. This molecularly mixes him all up, blasting him with ecto energy, giving him the ability to switch to a ghost form from his natural human form at will. Danny is a very easygoing and average teenage boy, but coming off a lot more likable as a character even at an age where he should be at least a little moody, selfish, and chaotic. He is very even-tempered, compassionate, and responsible instead, characteristics that make a fantastic heroic main character. He does have his moments where he can tease his sister and act his age, but only to a certain degree. But we get to see him struggle with understanding himself and the flaws that he's able to recognize but not easily find the answer to helping himself with, making him a more believable character and also an exceptionally respectable one. Initially in the casting process, Hartman auditioned a bunch of boys Danny's actual age, but found that none of them had enough of an heroic voice. So he ended up casting a fully grown man who was able to pitch his voice a bit higher, but still maintain the same speech patterns that are characteristic to a stereotypical superhero. Danny is voiced by David Kaufman, who voiced Marty McFly in the Back to the Future animated series.
Anybody know Marty McFly? Personally, no, but I want to know.
While in ghost form, Danny is able to phase through mass, fly, and take control of other beings through possession. Initially, these are his only powers, but as the series continues and he meets even stronger foes, he is able to tap into more powers and become stronger. Future powers include duplication, blasting ecto energy, a ghostly whale, cryo, and some forms of shapeshifting.
Okay, whale, like this guy can't let me have anything to scream.
His enemies start out pretty simple, like my favorite villain, the Box Ghost.
Beware! I am the Box Ghost!
I still quote that on the daily, and maybe 3 people have ever understood the reference. But he graduates pretty early to his arch nemesis, his own version of Lex Luthor, Vlad Masters. Even
you know how that feels. Like, I used to say, you know a reference that you say, but nobody gets, like it has to be a TikTok meme nowadays. Like someone asked me what time it is, and I said it's hero time. They looked at me like I was dumb. They're like, what are you talking about? Like,
Though Danny's sister, Jazz, voiced by Colleen O'Shaughnessy, tends to heavily criticize them prioritizing ghosts, Maddie and Jack have two very mature and well-adjusted kids. Voiced by Kath Soucie and Rob Paulsen, the GOAT, the two of them are very quick to jump to action when seeing a ghost. Maddie tends to be more analytical than Jack, who acts more impulsively and trigger-happy. The two of them met in high school as members of a ghost club, and after they graduated, they married and started their Fenton Works business, inventing ghost capturing technology and hunting ghosts in their area, despite the general population not acknowledging their validity for a lot of the first season. Vlad Masters was their third wheel in college, who went on to become a billionaire industrialist, and because of his unrequited infatuation with Maddie, lives bitterly, all alone. He feigns amity towards Jack, who is so intensely oblivious, while trying to find ways to either steal Maddie or get rid of Jack so he can steal Maddie. Basically, yeah, he's just trying to steal Maddie. In creating his character, Hartman wanted to give Danny a Lex Luthor type of antagonist. But to make it more interesting, Vlad Masters, voiced by Martin Mull, also serves as a reflection of an experienced Danny Phantom, because he also has the same ghost abilities. In addition to Jack's marriage and romance with Maddie, Vlad also blames Jack for the accident that occurred in college that gave him his powers. But because the accident was so long ago, Vlad has had 20+ years to master his abilities, making him a very strong adversary for Danny. Vlad Masters was initially going to be a vampire, hence the alter ego Vlad Plasmius. Vlad, which comes from Vlad the Impaler, whose nickname Dracula was partly inspiration for Irish writer Bram Stoker's novel Dracula, and Plasmius coming from a bright yellow liquid that makes up about 55% of your blood, plasma, which is not synonymous with the word blood, but makes up a huge percentage of it, which could be what makes it so delicious in the first place. I mean delicious for vampires. Not me. Yeah, no, I wouldn't think it's delicious, because I'm definitely not a vampire. Because Hartman was already in occult territory and dealing with ghosts, he was nervous of incorporating more occultish figures in a Nickelodeon kids show, even though Cartoon Network literally has a show where two kids befriend the Grim Reaper. And while I like the idea of what he was trying to do,
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, Nickelodeon can't touch the CN, bro. The Knicks can't touch the CNs, bro. I'm telling you, like, if we had to put the best lineups, because Danny Phantom has to be in Nickelodeon's best lineup. Now, I don't know. Nickelodeon people don't come for me. But I feel like, obviously, we should coexist. And I did watch Nickelodeon when Cartoon Network wasn't booming. But I'm just saying, like, yo, I miss Cartoon Network, man.
Masters as a character, and don't think he really needs to be a vampire to make him more intriguing. He and Danny have this really complex relationship because he's kind of family, but also an enemy, and they have also saved each other on some occasions when their interests align or they are facing a greater enemy. He's really just a meanie who wants to be a tier 3 sub for Maddie.
Oh no, this isn't good.
Another episode of Danny Phantom's up next.
In creating Danny's home life, Hartman decided to give him an older sister, which was intended to give another authority figure in his life, which would in turn make him being a powerful superhero that much more appealing to young Fenton. This is opposite to Timmy Turner, who is an only child. Jazz's name comes from a Next Man comic book character of the same name. Jazz and Danny have such a refreshing relationship that it is just so pure and loving, whereas a lot of kids' cartoons kind of use the spit-filled sibling rivalries as a plot point, especially between brother and sister, and especially when they're so close in age. From the beginning, Jazz sees her little brother as someone that she needs to protect, and even intervenes when she thinks her parents are going too far in dragging him into their obsessions with all things ghosts. In my favorite episode of the series, My Brother's Keeper, Jazz proves to be mature and stable enough in her life to recognize warning signs for depression in her brother's recent behavior. Unbeknownst to her, it's really just the fatigue and low energy from his heroic escapades when the sun goes down. She not only expresses her concern to him, but genuinely tries to help her brother. And the episode ends with her not only finding out about Danny's secret identity, but allowing him to not know that she knows, because in her words, he will tell her when he's ready. That's how you know she's a real one. There's never really a point in which Jazz acts out of character towards Danny. While she critiques and distances herself from her parents, she doesn't do so with Danny. Most of her character development comes from her changing from scrutinizing her parents and thinking that they have a problem for obsessing over ghosts, to fighting ghosts like her parents and having a lot of fun doing doing so, because later in season 1 and the rest of the series, she's out in the field. She acts as a guardian angel for Danny when she can, helping him from the other side. TLDR, Jazz is the best and a really cool way to write a sibling character. From the initial concept, Sam being in the story was always something that Hartman could picture. She is voiced by Grey DeLisle and plays the role of Danny's implicit love interest and activist goth girlfriend. I say love interest, but like
I did not expect that. Like, the voice actor was different in my mind. Like, you know that one hot girl from My Babysitter's a Vampire? I thought that was her. Like, it just reminds me of her.
Story was always something that Hartman could picture. She is voiced by Grey DeLisle and plays the role of Danny's implicit love interest and activist goth girlfriend. I say love interest, but like throughout the series, Danny has several different crushes and relationships that preoccupy his focus until later on, of course. Because, hello, a goth girlfriend. In the initial development, Sam and Danny were going to share a psychic link, which allowed them to stay in contact and always know where the other is, which would add an interesting layer to their relationship. But inevitably, the idea was scrapped. The reason for this not happening was because they didn't want to give anyone other than Danny additional unique talents, as he is the main character after all. But she does play an important role in her knowledge of the paranormal, because her character is written to be dark and goth and mysterious. It only makes sense that she would have a lot of knowledge of the occult. Hartman chose the name Sam because of its androgyny, and it fits as Sam tends to be the opposite of what society expects out of her, and goes against the grain quite often. Voiced by Ricky Deshawn, Tucker Foley has a name that comes from a mix and match of two different figures.
I thought that was Sam's voice.
Comedian Chris Tucker, and Foley has a name that comes from a mix and match of two different figures. Comedian Chris Tucker and Eddie Murphy's character in Beverly Hills Cop, Axel Foley. He mainly fulfills the role of a tech geek, as someone who grew up with techie parents, constantly surrounded by their inventions. If Danny Fenton had that natural tech genius characteristic, he would be too unstoppable, so instead that role is delegated to Tucker. He also plays the role of someone more infatuated with nearly any girl in his presence, as well as a jealous best friend on several occasions over Danny's powers. While he is smart, he comes off as the most immature character of the bunch for his actions, comments, and unbridled overconfidence. Jack and Maddie Fenton aren't what you would call great and attentive parents. They mean well for the most part, but they spend more time buried in their work than paying attention to their kids, which allows Danny to get away with so much ghostly crime fighting without much worry of his parents worrying where he is. And since he is their son, they are none the wiser to suspect he would be part ghost himself, even if all of their devices usually point to him being one. The relationship between the two is sweet, both being really nerdy and into the ghost hunting business, with them both feeling like the other completes them. They just function well together, even if they fumble.
I won't lie, man, like, Danny Phantom has probably one of the best endings ever. If you've watched Danny Phantom, it has one of the best endings ever. Like, I like how it's not easy to forget Danny Fenton and Danny Phantom. Like, I like how it's not that easy to forget. It has one of the best endings ever. Like, you could watch the part 1 and part 2 of the show's finale as many times as you want. Like that, they have a beautiful ending. So what happens is Danny, basically, everybody just finds out who he is. And yeah, happily ever after.
And fail at capturing ghosts or are just being goofy, they have this timeless love for one another that is genuinely beautiful. Even when things seem to be trying to separate them, mainly Vlad, their love still prevails.
Whoa, no. I feel like Danny Phantom is the only cartoon that a live action movie wouldn't work for. I just can't picture someone acting as Danny Phantom. Like, I really can't picture it. Because if I think about it, I know we've seen the teasers. Like, I know we've seen the teasers. That Ben 10 with Tom Holland teaser has popped up in your algorithm before, right? Because we already had Alien Storm and Race Against Time, right? Okay, fine. But then I can't see anybody acting as... First off, Tom Holland is never going to play Ben 10. I won't allow that. I'll still watch the movie, I won't lie. But that's a mistake. Second of all, Danny Phantom, I feel like he wouldn't... I don't think a live action would fit. I watch a movie of Danny Phantom, but it wouldn't fit. Because I can't see someone playing Danny Phantom and the other characters. Like, it wouldn't make sense. I'll still watch the movie, but I can't see anybody playing that character.
Now, while I love Danny Phantom for the wonderful world of villains the show showcases, yes, I am talking about Ember and Desiree, you can put this show up there for molding me as a child with the likes of Shigo from Kim Possible. Anyway, I wanted to mainly speak about a few characters in the supporting cast, mainly those who fill some substantial role as a side storyline character and/or reoccurring character that flesh out so much of why the show works so well for me. First, of course, let's mention Paulina, the popular girl at school that we see Danny have a major crush on throughout a good portion of the series. She's your average popular archetype, but we do get some moments of actual depth with her character, mixing that with her having a crush on Danny Phantom, but not Danny Fenton. Dash is a bit of an interesting play on the school jock slash bully, but that doesn't mean that's all he is.
It reminds me of Flash from the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Is that Amazing Spider-Man or just Ultimate Spider-Man? But the one with Andrew Garfield reminds me of Flash.
He is seen being tutored by Danny's older sister Jazz, but is let off with a lot at school because of his athletic achievements on the football field. Okay, maybe that is all he is, but he does get some moments where both him and Danny bond through working together against some ghosts and situations that end in some form of seeing eye to eye or mutual respect for one another, and the writers of the show have fun playing with his macho tough guy act, constantly throwing little scenes, mentions, or references to things that wouldn't be considered as quote-unquote manly. Then there's Valerie, who is probably the most interesting character on her own, but what makes her even more so is her relationship with Danny. On one end, they go from strangers, not really knowing much about each other aside from preconceived notions, but slowly build a quick friendship that leads into some dating. While that doesn't last long, they at least can be considered friends now, knowing each other a lot closer. She breaks things off with Danny in pursuit of her ghost hunting desires. Oh yeah, here's the other hand thing. She hunts Danny down thanks to ghosts ruining her father's job, affecting her family income and status among her peers at school, and then Vlad giving her the tools she needs to hunt him down, obviously not knowing that Danny Fenton is Danny Phantom. Luckily, throughout the series, through their alter identities, they operate more as frenemies and even team up if needed, like when they had to do so to save Danny Phantom. Yes, you heard that right, except it's Danny with an I. Danny is another result of something from the mind of Vlad. Danny was an attempt at Vlad creating his own version of Danny Phantom to serve his evil bidding with him. If he can't convince Danny to join the Vlad side, he just tries to create his own. And eventually she turns against Vlad after she understands how she had been manipulated by him and his true plans are revealed to her. Her relationship with Danny, since they are practically the same now in many ways aside from age, is more akin to them being cousins. Her character, for her time in the show, is pretty tragic but a true courageous hero at the end of the day, making her a favorite among fans of the show for how she was portrayed. Oh, and an honorary shout out to Mr. Lancer, the school vice principal and teacher of so many different subjects, and his character is the adult authority figure during.
Like, you watch anime and you watch normal cartoons and you just like, you just look at people differently. Like, you're like, why is head like that? Why is ears like that? Like, that's how you just look at characters from now on. Like that guy who says, "Very odd parents." I can't move too much, you know, the earphone on the budget, you know. But I'm slay. But either way though, I'm saying, why is chin shaped like that? Like, why his beard grows at a perfect acute angle? You guys didn't think I knew that, but I did.
School, who is constantly getting the short end of the stick when it comes to the happenings at the school, being the butt of a joke or the one affected by someone else's Danny's messes. But he, at least for me, gets an extra little bit of love for his constant use of literature instead of cursing, by calling out the name of a book instead of dropping an F-bomb. It's goofy, but I support it.
Paradise Lost! Danny is back for more.
Inspired heavily by superheroes, Danny became.
Yo, I love that music. Yo, I love that music. Like,
Danny is back for more.
I feel like I'm levitating.
Inspired. Inspired heavily by superheroes, Danny became a great example of a new hero, and a great new show that provided a lot of superhero tropes, but within a fresh and never-before-seen story. Danny has a secret identity. He can fly, he has to balance problems with school and home with vigilantism, which is standard for anything in relation to superheroes, but the depth of his relationships and journeys through the Ghost Zone greatly fuse the superheroes tropes with the supernatural. A lot of the villains overall were a highlight of the show and some of my most memorable aspects of the show. Again, do I even need to mention Ember and Desiree? Maybe I remember them for the wrong reasons, but the point still stands. Aside from Vlad and the Box Ghost, some of my favorite and most memorable characters include Skulker. I just love how tough he is and looks, all for you to find out that this is what he truly looks like, and that this tough exterior was just a suit that he can.
He was my favorite villain. This guy was my favorite villain, Skulker, because just look at him, bro. High tech. He was like the John Wick of Danny Phantom. The hair, the armory, well, not the armory, but yeah, the armory and stuff, until I found out he was that.
Trolls. Dark Danny was pretty cool. It gave us a glimpse at a possible future where Danny and Vlad kind of fuse their worst parts together. It would be cool to see him again as a villain in a manga for Danny Phantom. Oh wait, we aren't there yet. I'll mention that shortly. Stop rushing me. I also really like Penelope Spectra. I don't need to explain why, I have my reasons. A point of contention for the series is the small changes in animation style seen in Season 1. After Season 2's premiere, the animation team had really found its groove, and the reason behind the inconsistencies in Season 1 had a lot to do with finding the right animators for the job. When you're dealing with thousands of drawings and dozens of different artists with different styles, you're initially not going to be consistent. Hartman finishes a point he had about this by saying that by the time Season 1 was over, he had, and this is in his own words, I quote, "I removed all the people who couldn't draw the show correctly." Butch, buddy, be honest, by remove, you mean you trapped them in the void of Oaxis, right? Right? I remember when the show originally premiered on April 3rd, 2004. That Saturday, I was at a family event and there was one TV in the whole event area near a bar that I just sat at as I had a bartender change the channel to Nickelodeon. I still do that today at regular bars, but instead I just get confused faces staring at me. The show had style and immediately hooked my attention for the series, as well as a lot of others, as when I speak to people about some of their favorite shows, Danny Phantom is said.
I'll say this to this day, the reason why anime got so popular is because cartoons are not getting any better. That's my reason. I feel like if cartoons were like the same as like the 2000s and stuff, but like just better, like better writers, better animators, it was good. Like me personally, I didn't like the 3D animated stuff. So, excuse me, so the Mickey Mouses, the, you know, stuff that look like Play-Doh, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain it, but just 3D animations, I didn't like it. Some of it was acceptable, like, you know, Jimmy Neutron, Casper, those were the exceptions, but then the other ones were just whack. Maybe I'm forgetting other 3D shows that I enjoyed, but then I remember not liking 3Ds. I always liked and admired 2D animations.
More often than not. Even critics gave the show high praise, citing the great characters, fun action, and all-around humor found throughout. Sure, going back to this show now, it's easy to find some less than tasteful jokes, and a few things that definitely haven't aged well. The good stuff about the show, however, still holds up greatly, and it's truly unfortunate that it never felt like it got to flourish because it feels like there was so much room left to tell some incredible stories. I think the character of Danny is just an all-around well-written and fun character to root for. A character who isn't perfect, who has similar life struggles, but still tries to see himself in a great light, even if it comes off a bit too cocky when he's delivering some of the most out-of-pocket and laughable one-liners when fighting some ghosts. He's just like a knockoff Spider-Man, but it's all part of the charm. Plus, the series has one of the best and most memorable theme songs of all time. I feel like people would riot if I at least didn't mention.
He's offensive, dude. He's offensive. It ain't fancy, it's just 14 and in the strange machine and the concrete eyes. Like, nah, he's right, that song is fine.
It once, but yeah, it slaps. The future of Danny Phantom is still pretty foggy. Hartman dislikes the word cancelled in describing how Danny Phantom came to an end. With only 53 episodes for such an immensely popular show, it's shocking that it didn't get the chance to run longer, especially in comparison to how long the Fairly Odd Parents would go on.
53? it feels longer. Maybe because you didn't binge it. I feel like if you binge it, that's when you're like, oh, okay. But then we didn't binge it. We had to wait for, like, you know, the specific times. Like when they advertise it, 12 p.m. EST. I mean, EST or something, yeah, standard time.
Stop asking me to review the new live-action Fairly Odder show. I simply have no interest. Hartman has described that Danny Phantom was just not renewed for a 4th season, and it has been discussed dozens of times, but nothing has ever gone so far to have come to fruition. But Danny Phantom not being given a 4th season was a huge and shocking thing to a lot of fans, and it incited a lot of protests both in New York City and...
Oh, nah, that's bullshit! There's protest! Okay. Nah, Danny Phantom, you got that. I didn't think there was like a protest about this show. Not that it's bad, but like, it's the way it ended where I felt like, okay, everybody knows his secret. How is he gonna still save? Like, I know how that sounds, because again, I'm comparing it to Ben 10 a lot. They're not the same, but Ben 10, they found out he became like a celebrity. Now Danny Phantom, how's his life gonna be at school? How are they gonna think about that? Because everybody found out. Unless, like, you know, a ghost appears and like wipes their memory and stuff, or has like a specific machine or something.
Outside of the Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Awards. But that being said, it's still being discussed. Fans could tell that Season 3, in comparison to the first 2 seasons, feels a bit more rushed, but after it not coming back for more, it kinda makes sense why it does. Danny Phantom is still very much alive though, as Butch Hartman is constantly sharing his old designs and a lot of what he would imagine what would happen after the series. Hartman's YouTube channel focuses a lot on his past works, and he has even touched on his ideas for what Danny Phantom would be like 10 years later. But seemingly out of nowhere, there was a major Danny Phantom announcement in 2022. Coming out on July 18th, 2023, a Danny Phantom graphic novel titled A Glitch in Time is releasing, with the overseeing of Nickelodeon on this, clearly for legality to even happen in the first place, but it just makes it feel like Nickelodeon still gives some form of thought or care for this franchise. You're excited. I'm excited.
No, we're not excited. We are not excited. Who's gonna read a book? Like, I sound like a dumbass. No, I mean, we watched this show. We watched it, right? Now, why are we gonna read it? It's like reading a movie. Who's gonna read a movie? Does it have pictures? At least. I don't know, man. No, I do know. I'm not reading a Danny Phantom book. The reason why I like Danny Phantom, I like seeing him say going ghost or something. You know what I mean? Like, bro, I feel like the people who make kids show, they don't get the kids. They don't get the kids.
Give some form of thought or care for this franchise. You're excited. I'm excited. Random people in Splatoon 3 are excited. Does this lead to anything more? Who knows, but I'm just grateful for something from this franchise still happening. And maybe, just maybe, if we're lucky, Burger King can bring back the Danny Phantom kids meal toys. That'd be pretty rad. But let me know your thoughts on Danny.
I never ate at Burger King a day in my life. Not that I hate it, it's just that every time I look at it, there's like a big line. And I hate lines.
Phantom, were you a die-hard fan of the show? And if so, are you excited for the graphic novel coming out next year? And would you like a continuation of the show after?
But like, I'd hold the line for a PS5 though. Like, I'm an Xbox guy for life, but you gotta understand that PS5, you know, they beat us in exclusive. But I would hold the line. Like if it was guaranteed I was gonna get one, I'd hold the line.
All these years. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe with notifications on for more content like.
Do that for me too. Okay, that's enough of him. Do that for me too. I appreciate you guys for tuning in for the video. We back consistency, man. We back consistency. You can check out the story time that I posted. Maybe that's the reason why it ended up like that. Now, I won't spoil anything, but maybe that's the reason. I just like cartoons too much. And, you know, it didn't give me much luck with the ladies. But, you know, hey, man, that boy out!